My name is Ramsey. I'm an instructor here at Impulse Martial Arts. I'm going to show you my approach to a Rimi Tenkan and movement for random attacks. So Mike here is going to perform 5 random attacks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same exact thing 5 times in a row to show you that this is effective at least 90-95% of the time, and it gets you into a less advantageous position than if you were to just stand here or make small adjustments to the attack. So my movement, so you guys know ahead of time, and so that Mike knows ahead of time. If he wants to track me, he's more than welcome to. We didn't pre-plan anything, so his only job is to be a good uki by attacking me with intent, and his goal is to be either to strike me, to grab me, or all out take me down. He has one opportunity. If he doesn't get it initially, then he has failed essentially. If he succeeds, then that means I failed. But he only has one instance to do it, and that's what this is all about. It's about setting yourself up for success against a random attack. This isn't something you're going to do over and over and over again in any situation, because the person's going to figure that out, and he's going to track you, and he's going to start grappling with you. This is only meant for initial movement, initial urimi. All right, here we go. So Mike's going to attack. I'm going to do this 1, 2, 3. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it 5 times in a row. Okay, you ready? How'd you make? So, if you want context, you can stay watching the video. If you don't want context and that's enough for you, you can turn it off. Basically, what Mike did was 5 very random attacks. Realistic or not, that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about random attacks in general. The idea is you don't know what attack is ever going to come, especially when you're talking self-defense. You have no idea. I have no idea what Mike's possibly going to throw at me. So what we have to do is approach this in a manner that affords us an advantageous position without worrying about the stress of, hey, what is Mike going to do? What is he going to throw at me? Is he going to grab me? Is he going to punch me? Is he going to strike? Is he going to do a double leg takedown? I have no idea. And in reality, if you're ever faced against an opponent, whether in training, randori, out in the street, you have no idea what the person is going to do, what they're capable of. So you need to treat every attack the same way. The concept of urimi is not anything revolutionary. We are taught it all the time. However, my approach here is unique to me because I've never been taught this way, and I kind of developed it on my own. Hopefully somebody else out there in the Aikido world or any other martial arts world has incorporated this sort of training. But if not, and you've never heard of it before, then you're welcome. So you can use this in any martial art whatsoever, even if you're just doing Kempo karate or jiu-jitsu or sword fighting, kali, whatever you want to do. You practice this and it's going to make your entry so much better, mainly because you don't have to worry about what are they going to do. Oftentimes we work on a reactionary basis, and we say, and I've been taught this a long time throughout all my training, it was always, well, figure out what they're coming with, and then you'll be able to know what best to do in order to overcome that attack. And I disagree with this because it's impossible to tell what attack is coming. Once somebody steps within your mai, all right, once he steps within my mai here, he can get a lot of shots off, and I have no opportunity or very little opportunity to react appropriately to that. So the moment somebody enters your mai, you need to close the distance and get in control, or you need to gain more distance to get control of yourself. If you don't, then he's going to have all the opportunity to move in quick and effectively. He's going to take you down. Think of it as a wrestler, for example. So Mike has history of wrestling, knows how to do a knee shot, but So if Mike tries to do a knee shot from here, go ahead. There's a lot of time. He has a bad knee, but we have a lot of time to react. But if I'm here and he does a knee shot, he has me, right? Now nothing is 100%. No matter what movement you do, no matter how many times you do it to perfect it, nothing is 100%. Therefore, you can never plan on any one movement to work. So if Mike does the knee shot this way, and I move ahead of time, then I can get into a good position and prevent that from happening. How do you want to practice this? Well, basically what you want to do is you want to choose a direction and go that same direction over and over and over again, no matter what the opponent does. So it teaches you to not worry about what the incoming strike is. If the strike is a roundhouse, if it's an uppercut, if it's a kick, if it's a grab or a tackle, doesn't matter. What it does is it affords you a nice position so that you're not initially, and I use that word with a lot of emphasis, initially taken down. Whoever gets the first shot off is really going to dominate the positioning, dominate the situation, especially if it's a really effective one. So as Mike enters for like a leg takedown, for example, once he's here, I'm having trouble. More on this way real quick. But once he comes in, if I'm on an angle this way, he still has one leg, but he's in a less advantageous position than I am, okay? Than I would be if I would be here. So with him here, my opportunities for defense are a lot better than if he has two legs. So I would consider this a win. I can also push his head, implement groundwork techniques, or whatever else your training has taught you for defense against that positioning. If he does a strike, any strike, and I'm here, I'm in a position where I'm attacking his center, and he is attacking where I was. That's the idea. This is a very kata-ish strike, just for demonstration. But the idea is he's striking this way, I get offline, I counter strike him this way, and I can sekizushi and do my technique. The last thing is how to enter in. If you were to enter the same way every time, obviously you see it works a majority of the time. And I'll never say never, and I don't want to say always, but it works a majority of the time against very random attacks. But there's a small recipe that you have to follow to make sure you cover all your bases. For one, most common attacks are usually to the head, and if it's not to the head, it's probably doing for a takedown. So if the opponent's trying to take me down, he's obviously going to lower himself and he's going to come in. If he's really fast, you can always say, well, if you see him lower himself, I can move out of the way. But some people are just so fast, you can't possibly get out of the way in time to prevent a takedown if somebody's really fast, or just really good at takedowns. Same thing if he's a really fast puncher. You might not be able to move out of the way in time. So we need a universal way of moving so that we can dominate a lot of his and negate a lot of his attacks. So in the demonstration that I performed recently was 1, 2, this way. Whenever I'm doing an initial arimi movement like this against a random attack, there's a couple things that I go by. For one, I want to get offline. Of course, we all know we want to control, get off their center line. We want to get them on our center line so we can have maximum control over them. So we get offline. Next thing I do is I perform a sweep of some sort across my face. The sweep protects my head. Majority of attacks, especially in real situations, are usually to the head. This is your main computer. If you lose consciousness or vision, or you get knocked in the nose, or you get knocked in the jaw, you're probably not going to be winning that fight necessarily. And it's going to set you up for failure if they continue and they get you. So you want to protect your head at almost all costs. I'd rather protect my head and take a clean rib shot than the opposite, right? So as he's coming in for, let's say, a jab punch combination, right? I'm sweeping in front. This is because blocking is always a secondary movement or technique next to movement. Blocking only becomes a priority if you can't move. So then you'll block first. So if I don't have time to move, I'll block and then move. If I have time to move because he enters my eye and I'm able to perceive that, then go ahead, same thing. Here. I do this in case he goes here, miss, then he gives me another attack, and that happens all within a blink of an eye. So I know that my head is protected for this instance. It's all about this one instance. After you guys get here, then it's a matter of your training and what do you do next. Do you sekizushi? Do you do techniques? Do you kick? Do you take down? Or do you grapple? That's all up to you. This is all about getting to that initial placement and avoiding an initial strike or takedown. Lastly, what I want to just go over is the 3 elements of a technique application, and this helps us set that up in so many ways. In order to properly apply or to effectively apply any technique of any sort, whether it's to get a strike in, really good, or to apply a kodagaishi, or whatever your technique is going to end up being, takedown, you need to enter. And the 3 elements that we need to accomplish while we're entering help us maximize efficiency and get us to achieve high level of success with our techniques. If you take out any one of these 3 components or elements, then performing a technique becomes increasingly difficult and less likely to happen because it affords them the ability to resist. So the 3 elements are, 1 is movement. So just give me a push. I want to move. That means that I'm not off balance and I'm able to keep this from happening. Next is I want to control the center line. I want to attack his center line. I want his line going this way. All right? So my tools are online, his tools are offline right now. In this instance, I have the advantage and I have the offense. He is on defense. From here, I will now apply the 3rd element, which is kazushi. That could be a strike. This could be a push, or it can be leverage, like a tenkan of some sort. If you combine all 3 of these, then the likelihood of achieving success with any one technique are a lot higher. So, for example, if he does the push, right? Now I'm here and I can do technique because he's recovering. While you're recovering, you're less likely to be able to resist. That is when techniques are then performed. If I were to take out the movement element, this is what happens. Okay? He got the push off. I wasn't able to, I'm not attacking the center line anymore, right? I was merely basing everything off my block, and that'll happen sometimes, but that's the point. And I'm in no position to do any technique right now, unless I got really lucky. So now, let's say I move, but I don't have my center line in line with his. You go ahead. Right? What techniques can I do from here? Right? So if he pulls his arm in just a little bit, right, and I try to do a technique, right, it's very difficult because my center is facing off in Neverland. These are common concepts. You guys all know them probably, so it's not new information. Now, kazushi, if I do everything right, and I don't have kazushi, and I try to do a kodagaishi, for example, not going to work. But the moment I apply kazushi, then he is now more likely to go. While somebody's recovering from kazushi, from off balance, that is your time to throw them or to apply technique. That's your opening to get a nice, good, effective strike. So, lastly, the exercise again is doing your motions so that it sets you up for the advantage and to apply your techniques in the most efficient, stress-free way possible, because you don't want the stress of wondering, well, what attack are they giving me? Doesn't matter, who cares? All that matters is that you're going to move in, you're going to go offline, you're going to takedown or taisabaki, attack their center line, you are going to sekizushi. If those are your main focuses, then you're going to achieve a high level of success against random attacks. And that's what this is all about. This is a very important concept to understand when you're talking about randori. In randori, you have to perform the sen no sen or the sen sen no sen principles, concepts, so that the other person doesn't have time to react and strike on their own accord. It puts them on the defensive at the same time. But again, with randori, controlled grabbing chaos, however you want to define it, I have no idea what's going to happen. All I know is that if I have 3 opponents over here and my only direction is this way, guess what? I'm going that way and I have to, because I can't go any other direction. If Mike was an opponent and keeping me from exiting a room and he was threatening and I only had the opportunity to go that way, right? That means I have to go that way. So therefore, if I'm going to base my movements conditionally against whatever he's attacking me with, chances are you're going to be way too late in your decision making, because reaction is always slower than action. That's why it's a reaction. It's after the fact. So you need to learn how to go whichever direction you want. Therefore, you stay in control every moment of every encounter. If you can do that, then you are more likely to succeed in not getting that initial kazushi put against you. You're going to less likely be hit. You'll less likely be grabbed or taken down initially. All right? Thank you very much. All right? Arigatou gozaimasu.